Tucked away in the woods and tangled in roots of mystery, some unexplored corners of our forests hold prehistoric secrets and the enigma of legendary beings, from unknown beasts to terrifying realities. Join us as we uncover the most horrific discoveries made in these dense trunks.
Oh my God.
Spiders come in all sizes, but there are some out there that are truly massive. In the Congolese forest, a large spider was seen walking along a narrow path, sparking thoughts of the legendary Joba Fofi. This spider is said to have a leg span of 3 to 6 feet, with a brown body and a purple mark on its abdomen. The Baka people describe the spider's young as having yellow bodies with purple spots. These spiders were also known to build leaf huts and use trip lines to catch small forest animals. Their venom is believed to be strong, making them a formidable creature in the forest. So, you know how people love setting up cameras in forests to see what wildlife they can catch on tape? Well, this guy did exactly that. He wanted to see what animals were out and about at night. When he reviewed the footage later, he saw something that stopped him in his tracks. At first, it was hard to make out, but then it became clear. The creature had a long tail and was moving so fast and low to the ground. He said it looked just like a Velociraptor, moving with the kind of speed and agility you'd expect from a dinosaur in those old documentaries. Definitely not your average forest footage. In Australia, a man had a surprising encounter with a frilled lizard. Instead of acting scared or aggressive, the lizard calmly walked up to him, climbed his leg, made its way to his shoulder, and then casually headed back into the forest. The frilled lizard is one of Australia's most recognizable reptiles, known for the large frill around its neck. When threatened, it spreads the frill like a fan, opens its mouth wide, and hisses loudly to scare off predators. If that doesn't work, it runs away with its legs flailing out to the sides. But this one seemed either curious or unusually comfortable around people. Have you ever imagined finding an octopus on land? Well, that's basically what happened when a strange creature was spotted in a muddy hole. It looked just like an octopus, with black, unusual skin that perfectly matched its muddy environment. With several tentacle-like limbs and a face resembling an octopus, it seemed like a land version of the sea creature. What was even more fascinating was how it moved. Its tentacles shifted just like an octopus would, yet it seemed completely comfortable in the mud. It was a curious sight, unlike anything typically found on land, but somehow it seemed right at home there. A strange snake was spotted, and it caught a lot of attention because of its unusual look. The snake had white, hair-like growth on its head, which made it look like something out of the ordinary. Snakes don't typically have hair, so people were pretty confused about what was going on. Was it a rare species? Or maybe some weird mutation? Everyone was curious, and it became the talk of the town. But after closer inspection, it turned out the hair wasn't really hair at all. It was just some cotton stuck on the snake's head. So no mutant snake here, just a weird trick of nature.
Oh my God.
Posted a few years back, this video was captured somewhere in the middle of the Amazon forest. It shows a mysterious crouched creature crawling on all fours. In the dark, it literally looked like a beast straight out of a horror movie. But as soon as it came into the light, its features started becoming clear. This was a vampire bat, the true stealthy predators that mostly came out at night. Unlike the fictional vampires, these bats don't suck blood. Instead, they use their sharp teeth to make a tiny cut, then lap up the red fluid with their tongues. It might sound creepy, but they're just trying to survive in their environment by feeding quietly and stealthily.
Look at that thing.
A huge rock formation was discovered that looked just like a giant crocodile. From far away, it honestly seemed like a real one, just lying there, soaking up the sun. The details were amazing. Sharp edges, a long snout, and even the shape of a tail. Of course, it was all just stone, but the shape was so perfect, it made people stop and stare. Explorers and photographers couldn't get enough of it. It wasn't carved or touched, just naturally shaped over time. And honestly, it looked cooler than most sculptures. A little surprise from Earth's art collection.
Okay, so I'm a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and so it pains me to tell you that this is not a mythical tree called an ant coming to life in the forest, but rather a tree in the forest dealing with very strong winds or a windstorm.
Trees do some weird stuff sometimes, but a breathing tree? Now that's new. During a crazy windstorm in Quebec, one of those fast-building storms called explosive cyclogenesis, a tree looked like it was literally inhaling and exhaling, but nope. It wasn't alive in a magical way. It was just nature doing its dramatic thing. The strong winds pushed the tree side to side, and the force traveled down into the roots. Since the soil wasn't super tight, the whole root system moved with the tree. That caused the ground around it to rise and fall, like a slow-motion heartbeat. It looked wild, but it was all physics.
We had explosive cyclogenesis, a very strong storm, rapidly intensifying and produced really strong wind gusts that were somewhat relentless throughout the forest.
We all know giraffes, right? With their long necks and crazy patterns. But there's something even cooler. A creature that looks like a mix between a zebra and a deer, but is actually the giraffe's closest relative. It's called the okapi. And it's super rare. This shy animal lived only in the wilds of the Ituri rainforest in the Democratic Republic of Congo. In 2007, a video showed an okapi named Karu strolling calmly through the Okapi Wildlife Reserve. Its thick, oily coat kept it dry in the rainy forest, and scent glands on its feet marked its territory. Okapis love plants, fruits, leaves, twigs, and buds. They're all herbivores. Anacondas are usually found deep in the rainforests of South America, right? So spotting one in India sounds impossible. But, believe it or not, something like that recently made headlines in Tamil Nadu. A man spotted a massive snake moving in the distance, and it looked just like a giant anaconda. It was huge, slow-moving, and honestly, kind of majestic. He froze, just watching it slither across the ground. It didn't seem scared or rushed. After a bit, it calmly slid into the nearby forest and vanished. The whole thing surprised everyone. I mean, anacondas don't live in India. Nature always finds a way to surprise us, so keep your eyes open. Sometimes nature leaves behind things that make you stop and stare. This time, it was a giant skeleton, almost 10 meters long, discovered by a man out exploring. The creature had been dead for quite a while. All that was left was a strange skull and thick snake-like skin stretched across the bones. No meat, no soft tissue, just the frame of something massive. Its shape didn't match any known animal, which made the whole thing even more interesting. People who saw it couldn't quite agree on what it used to be. One thing's for sure, finding something that big and that old is always exciting. Out in the forest, someone came across a strange creature just lying there out in the open. It had big, bulging black eyes and odd dark patterns across its body. At first, it just stared straight at the guy, completely still. But when he gently poked it with a stick to get a closer look, the creature slowly lifted its head. The way it moved was super strange. It kind of looked like a larva, maybe even like a tiny alien baby. Not something you'd expect to find in the woods. People love talking about mysterious creatures, especially those that might still be hiding out in the wild. While boating, a person saw something strange in the distance. It looked like a huge creature with a long neck and a shape that reminded some of an ancient dinosaur. Some believe it could be the Mokele Mbembe, a legendary creature thought to live in the Congo River basin. Descriptions of it match what was seen, a dinosaur-like figure. Even though people have claimed to spot it, no solid proof has ever been found to confirm its existence. Still, it's one of the most famous cryptids around. Birdwatching can sometimes lead to surprising discoveries, and that's exactly what happened when a man spotted the rare great-eared nightjar while walking through a forest. These birds are unique and terrifying at the same time. They're active at night, making a sharp, jarring call that's hard to miss, earning them the name nightjar. Known as buge eaters, they feed on flying insects, catching them mid-air like skilled hunters. The great-eared nightjar is the largest among nightjars, usually measuring around 12 to 16 inches long and weighing 4.6 to 5.3 ounces. One of the coolest features of this bird is its wide-open mouth, lined with fine, hair-like bristles that help capture insects more easily. On March 3, 2016, scientists made an incredible find in the remote mountains, a creature that looked like a dragon. The discovery, which caught the attention of the scientific world, was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. The creature's body was large, with scales and wings that closely resembled the dragons from myths and legends. The scientists wasted no time investigating the remains. The scales, although decayed, were still tough, and the wings were well preserved for their age. Experts debated whether it was a previously undiscovered species, or maybe even an ancient creature tied to dragon legends. Was this proof that dragons once roamed the earth? Fishing can be a relaxing way to pass the time, but sometimes strange things happen. One fisherman had a wild experience while out on the water. As he was pulling in his catch, he noticed something big moving underneath the surface. It wasn't like any fish he had seen before, and its movement seemed odd. The water splashed as it got closer. Suddenly, before he could get a good look, the creature grabbed his fish right off the hook and disappeared. He was left in shock, unsure of what just happened. Its size and unusual behavior made him wonder if there was something unknown lurking beneath the surface. It's amazing what you might find in the water if you're paying attention, and sometimes it's best to keep wondering. Have you ever heard about some of the most unbelievable creatures in Africa? The Congo has seen its share of strange beasts, and one of the most talked about is a creature that has been terrorizing the region for years. It was first spotted in 1919 when a hunter discovered a huge elephant carcass and a massive beast feeding on it. Described as being about the size of an elephant with a horn on its nose like a rhino, this beast has become a part of the Congo's wild folklore. It was said to have short, thick legs and a smooth neck. Some reports claimed it spent time in the water and ate plants like molebe, growing near rivers and swamps. While exploring deep in the Amazon forest, someone stumbled upon a giant spider skull. The creature was already dead and seemed to have been there for quite some time, as the skull was tangled in thick bushes. Signs of decay were clearly visible, indicating it had been lying there for a while. What made this discovery even more bizarre was the size of the skull. It was much larger than any spider anyone had ever seen. It was a truly strange find, sparking questions about whether it was a rare species or just an odd anomaly in nature. In the Aysén region of Chile, a strange skeleton was discovered in a forest near a small town, leaving locals stunned. The mysterious skeletal frame looked unlike any known animal. Its skull resembled that of a Velociraptor, and it had beast-like claws. The creature appeared to have stepped straight out of myth. At first, people assumed it might be the remains of a prehistoric animal, but the intact condition of the bones suggested otherwise. A team of experts was quickly called in, and samples were collected to learn more about the creature's identity. However, no information has been released so far, keeping the mystery unsolved. Discovering remnants of animals in unexpected places is always intriguing. During a routine survey in Uttarakhand, a group of police officers came across something that left them stunned. A tiny skeleton that looked like a baby dinosaur. The bones were clearly shaped like those of a creature we'd expect from the dinosaur era. It was only about 2 feet long, with a body structure that reminded many of a young dinosaur species. Experts were called in to take a closer look and study this unusual find. It's wild to think that something so ancient could show up in the most unexpected places. Salamanders might not be the first creatures you think of, but the Chinese giant salamanders recently caught people off guard in a pond. These animals are the largest amphibians in the world, and they can grow as long as 1.8 meters, about the size of a grown person. They've been around since the Jurassic period, about 170 million years ago, and still have some ancient traits. These salamanders can't see very well, so they rely on special sensory spots on their skin to feel vibrations in the water, helping them find food. And if they sense danger, they release a peppery liquid to scare off predators. Nature's got its own defense system. Crocodiles are already scary, but what if they were double the size? In the Congo, people once talked about crocodiles that weren't just big, they were massive. Some said they reached 40 to 50 feet long and lived in deep burrows along riverbanks. One traveler wrote about these giants, saying locals called them mahamba and didn't treat them like regular crocs. They had a separate word for the normal ones. The mahamba looked like ordinary crocodiles, just way bigger. One explorer even reported seeing several longer than 42 feet. It's wild, right? While they might not be a new species, the size alone made them unforgettable. Imagine pulling one of those out of the water. Researchers recently came across a creature in the wild that left them completely stunned. It had a strange skin pattern, unlike anything they had ever seen before. Its eyes were a wild mix of yellow and black, making it look even more intriguing. Not only was this creature huge, but its features were totally unique. Some people began speculating that it could be a new type of dinosaur. Others were calling it a dragon, or even Mokele Mbembe. The video of the discovery spread quickly, with people excited and confused. Holy crap! Dinosaurs might still be out there, but guess what? Turns out, it was just an incredibly rare sea turtle. Lizards are some of the most interesting creatures out there, but imagine one so big, it could move like a snake too. That's what the nguma monene from the Congo's Mataba River is said to be, a creature that looks like a giant legged snake. It's described as having short legs, grayish-brown skin, and a forked tongue. With a serrated ridge along its back, it looks like a mix of a snake, a lizard, and even a crocodile. Although extinct, these creatures still captivate the imagination of forest explorers. Fishing isn't just about catching fish. It's about the quiet, the waiting, and sometimes the unexpected. One afternoon, a man was out by the water, rod in hand, when he spotted something unusual. Just near the edge, a large creature was feeding on a dead fish. Curious, the man stepped closer to get a better look. That's when the creature noticed him, and in a flash, it swam off, disappearing into the water at a surprising speed. The man stood there, wondering what he had just seen. Snakes usually freak people out, but in some cultures, they actually meant power or even gods. So when locals saw a weird-looking snake in a pond, it got everyone talking. Its body looked like a Burmese python, but its head totally different. What made it stranger was that it had feathers sticking out of its head. Some thought they were wings. Others guessed someone glued feathers onto it, but many people saw it as something special. It reminded them of old stories about a feathered snake from ancient times, but the truth was probably simpler. It could have been a pet python that slid through bird feathers. It looked wild, but sometimes things just look that way. Standing near a riverside, something strange caught a man's attention. Below the water surface, he noticed an unknown creature lurking along with fish. At first, he thought it might be a huge fish trying to catch prey, but then noticed it had a long neck that almost looked like a snake. It was unclear until it came further closer. With a feathery large body, he realized it was neither a fish nor snake. This mysterious creature was anhinga, also known as the snake bird or water turkey. It doesn't have waterproof feathers. This unique trait allows it to dive deep and glide effortlessly beneath the surface, making it a stealthy predator. And here, this anhinga was just enjoying its underwater hunt. Crocodiles are known for their strong jaws and long, powerful tails. So when people saw one without a tail, it really caught their eye. It looked a bit strange, but surprisingly, it was still healthy and moving around without any problems. Experts said some reptiles, like lizards, can drop their tails to escape danger. The tail acts like a distraction, so the animal can run away. Crocodiles don't usually do this, but their bodies do have natural spots where the tail can break off with little bleeding. It's rare, but it happens. This croc seemed to be doing just fine without it, and honestly, that's pretty amazing to see in the wild. One morning, a man was walking his dog through the woods when he saw a huge wolf, almost 8 feet long, slowly walking toward them. At first, he got scared, but before he could react, his dog ran up to the wolf like they were old friends. No barking, no growling, just calm curiosity. The man stood still, unsure of what to do, but kept watching. The two animals circled each other gently, like they were playing. No fear, no fight. After a few minutes, the wolf turned around and walked quietly back into the trees. Lizards come in all shapes and sizes, but this one definitely stood out. Spotted resting on a rock, it looked like a typical lizard at first glance, but with some unusual features. The most surprising part? It had incredibly long arms and legs, much longer than any lizard you'd usually see. Its body was mostly black, and white spots dotted its back, giving it a distinct look. With such long limbs and its striking color pattern, it was definitely a rare sight. Honestly, I can't help but wonder how nature managed to create something so unique. It's a reminder that there's always something new and surprising out there. Caterpillars can be pretty cute, but not all of them are harmless. A man recently came across an asp caterpillar, also called a puss caterpillar, which is notorious for its painful sting. Native to the southern United States, this fuzzy-looking caterpillar is actually covered in fine, hair-like spines that hide venomous needles underneath. At first glance, it looks like a soft, teardrop-shaped ball of cotton, but touching it can lead to some serious pain. The sting can cause burning, rashes, and even more severe reactions like swelling or nausea. It's a good reminder that some creatures might look cute, but they can pack quite a punch. People were amazed when they saw a serpent with a dragon-like head sitting on a rock near a dumpster. The creature had large, impressive horns on its head, which made it stand out from the usual snakes. Its unusual appearance caught the attention of many, sparking questions and curiosity among those who saw it. Though such creatures are rare, moments like these remind us of how much we still don't fully understand about wildlife. It's a perfect example of how nature can surprise us, even in the most unexpected places, like near a dumpster. How cool is that? Tribes are often hidden deep in forests around the world, with their own ways of living and unique features. While exploring a dense forest, a man came across an incredible sight, a mysterious tribe. These people had really dark skin, and their hair, flowing all the way down, looked almost like capes. Their small, elf-like stature made them appear out of place, almost like something from a fantasy. But despite their unusual looks, the tribe didn't harm him. Intrigued by their presence, he quietly decided to follow them, eager to learn more about these fascinating people. It's not every day you hear about giant snakes making headlines, but that's exactly what happened in Maine. Recently, police were tipped off about a massive snakeskin found in the area, said to be the length of a truck. This sparked renewed interest in the Wessie mystery, which began when a large snake, reportedly with a head the size of a softball, was spotted near a playground. While some thought it was a Burmese python, experts raised doubts about the authenticity of the shed skin, with some even suggesting it might have been staged. Despite this, if Wessie is real, it's unlikely to survive Maine's harsh winters. What happens next? Only time will tell.
The mystery will have to be solved quickly though. If Wessie is real and is a Burmese python, it's unlikely to survive Maine's winter.
Birds are smarter than most people think. From solving puzzles to mimicking sounds, they never stop surprising us. But this recent scene was next level. A bird was seen rolling a stone. Yep, rolling it. And the stone was about twice its size. That's not something you see every day. It kept nudging it, slowly moving it forward, like it had a goal in mind. People nearby couldn't believe their eyes. Birds are clever, sure, but this felt different, almost like determination in action. Either way, it is a fun reminder for us that with enough focus and determination, even the smallest creature can move something big. Open discussion. We've all grown up hearing stories about elves, those tiny, magical forest dwellers who usually show up in fairy tales and fantasy books. But what if someone actually saw one in real life? Well, that's exactly what happened during a quiet forest walk. A woman was exploring the woods when she spotted something truly unexpected. A small elf calmly walking along a forest path. The little figure was carrying something in its hands, moving with complete confidence, like it belonged there. What really surprised her was how unbothered it seemed. It didn't stop, didn't hide, just kept walking like it had something important to do. Well, it's little moments like these that make the world feel a bit more magical. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.